Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave original. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. All right. NFL playoffs are too big. We have had these wild card weekends with some blowouts in them, just absolute terrible action. And gotta say, they gave us bangers this weekend, right? They gave us no fewer than 4 absolute bangers, cliffhangers, nail biters, however you want to put it. I got to say to you, NFL, well played, baby. You gave us what we came here for. But as much as I want to give it up overall to the NFL, and that's cool, we got to look specifically at you guys. Nobody better for business than you guys. And you know who those guys are. Those guys are the Philadelphia Eagles. Ryan, we've been doing this all year long where I had to tell myself we're not going to talk about the Eagles every week, right? It had long stretches where we didn't. And it was honestly because I could talk about the Eagles every day and
Correct.
never get tired of it.
Correct. We can talk Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, AJ Brown every day, every Monday. And they gave us every reason why we want to talk about them every Monday, for the course of the last 3 hours.
Think about this, man. They got 2 white dudes out here covering people.
Right.
And that's never the issue. It never came. Shit,
didn't come up.
That's one of the bright spots of their whole situation. Like, look, man, when the white boys playing defensive back and carrying the load for your team, baby, you guys gotta wonder exactly what's going on here. Look, they lost this game to the 49ers, and it is the rare, flat-out, indefensible loss, right? Like, normally, if teams are playing at any point in the playoffs, with the exception of that 2-7 game, by and large, it's like, okay, this could probably go either way. We talked about this with the 49ers last week. I don't know anybody that plays defense for them, right? And then on offense, and you pointed this out, who the hell are those guys that Purdy's out here throwing the ball to?
So, right. And Kittle goes down with the Achilles. It's a lot of Christian McCaffrey, and then it's Jawan Jennings.
Yes.
It's a motley crew of dudes that Shanahan scheming up out there.
That use check guy's still in the league.
Right.
Right. And so this was the thing about it for the Eagles. The 49ers, as presently constructed, should need to make no mistakes in order to win against a team with the horses that the Eagles have. Okay? Brock Purdy threw 2 interceptions, and they were bad interceptions, right? Like we're not just turning them around. Those were bad interceptions that he threw. They still beat the Eagles. Still beat them. Like, I have been a Brock Purdy skeptic for a very long time, okay? He is clearly a starting NFL quarterback. And what has to really stink for the Eagles is he was clearly the better quarterback in the game. And I don't mean simply that he played better than Jalen Hurts did. You're asking me which one of them am I going to take? At this point, I'm taking Purdy. And look, man, that imaginary cookout invitation is in for me saying that. But I ate already. You know what I'm saying? Like this is how it looked. This is how it appeared to be. You've got, what's his name? Sirianni, after AJ Brown drops a pass, running at him, right, to go scream at him. And Brown screaming right back. And they can talk all that, yeah, well, we still love each other. Hey, I tell you what my therapist would say about that kind of love, you dig? It's not really what it is. It was a collective failure, right? Is it the quarterback's fault? Yes. Did AJ Brown drop some passes right there? Yes, and that's got to be the worst for him because he out there mad as hell because Jalen Hurts is not playing well, and then finally he dials it up right on your hands on the 3rd down, and when the game matters, and you don't bring it in, right? You had that one in the first half that you did not bring in. It was everybody's fault in this game that the Eagles lost it. This is why I say indefensible. Even without Lane Johnson and a couple guys you down, man, y'all had the players. Y'all had it at the crib. The only way for you to truly lose this game is by being outcoached.
All right, and let's just go through the second half drives. Punt, 10 plays, 23 yards, field goal, punt, field goal, downs to end the game.
Okay, and what's Sirianni supposed to be good at? What's his thing? He's the offense guy.
Right.
This is your offense. And look, if your quarterback isn't that guy, I'm sorry, but the other team has Brock Purdy. You understand what I'm saying? Like Kyle, by the way, I don't think we've talked about this nearly enough. They lost that game in the NFC Championship where Brock Purdy got hurt, right?
Right.
I know the way that we talk about Kyle Shanahan as a coach. I know the way that we talk about Nick Sirianni as a coach. If that's the way that we talk about Kyle Shanahan and we talk about Nick Sirianni, how do you think Kyle Shanahan talks about Nick Sirianni? Do you know how furious he was when Purdy went down? Like, do you realize if we think these things about Kyle, Kyle really thinks these things about Kyle.
And if we think these things about Sirianni, Kyle thinks these things about Sirianni.
Oh my God. So you think Kyle's out here trying to get cooked by Sirianni? Like, there's the old story. I think we've talked about this on the show, but if you hadn't heard it, when Bobby Knight talks about, man, I wasn't sure how that game was going to go. Then I look over and saw Dale Brown and I knew everything was going to be okay.
Yeah.
That's got to be Kyle Shanahan at the prospect of coaching a game against Nick Sirianni. And that's more or less what happened here. His team was the better coach team, period. I would not blame them if they fired Sirianni at midfield for this game, right? They're not going to. But what will it take, right? Because they're going to be at least they are so talented. And it feels like they'll be this talented for a while that they'll be able to win 10, 11, 12 games. But something's not right.
Right. I mean, and if something was not right all year, the vibes were not great all year.
They weren't great last year. They just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we're now 2 of the last 3 years where the vibes are terrible. You have a stunning collapse to end your season. Yes. I mean, it wasn't as bad as the Bucs loss where they quit out there, but the offense was as inept as it's been all year long.
Yes.
This is more than likely A.J. Brown's last game with the team.
You got to be.
So, what exactly, as Deontay always says, what exactly do you do here?
Yeah, so when you are getting booed in a close playoff game, because here we go with that shit again. That's people couldn't even focus to keep the main thing. So, whoo. And again, though, credit to Shanahan and really credit to Saleh, man, because them dudes is out there bringing the hammer with, I'm telling you again, I don't know who these people are, and I don't know who these people are because they had people who I did know, guys like Fred Warner, who might go to the Hall of Fame. They're hurt. They were beat down. They're, for my money, Hall of Fame tight end, probably post non-Gronk, best tight end of his era in Kittle. It may be over for him. He just had the Achilles tear. McCaffrey's still getting it done. I did not realize he had 400-something touches this year. This is a tricky one for Kyle because they're down so many guys, and I don't know what this is going to be next year for them, just because of what the physical toll is going to be for all of this. But what it wasn't going to be was him losing no game to no Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, and after this, they have to go out and they got to go play Sam Darnold, and they got to go play that Mike McDonald defense.
Yeah, but no, this is where this gets fun, man, because Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold. We'll have plenty of time to talk about this, but he is Sam Darnold, okay?
Yes.
Like we have seen enough to know that he didn't turn into an entirely different person. But this is teams that have played each other twice. They're going to be that's going to be a very good game, I think. But again, the Seahawks would be nice to rest as 49ers beat up. I want to also say this right here. Shout out to you, Josh Allen, because a lonely nation turns its eyes to you, apparently. Ryan, I ain't got no idea what these broadcasters going to do if they ain't had no Josh Allen for the rest of these playoffs. I had a buddy hit me up and was like, hey, man, I'll be watching the red zone for the majority of the year, so I don't hear the announcers. And I've been hearing people talk about how they be glazing Josh Allen, but he just figured that as black people being a little hypersensitive about the situation. And then he watched the game and he was like, no. That's not what happened here.
I think that insult applies with Romo and Josh Allen in particular. I think he's going to push him, Jim. It's just all that the whole game.
By the way, hate the tush push so much. Oh my God. That play where they basically walked it in the end zone and his lineman basically carried him. That's not what this is supposed to be.
Right.
This has got to be the last year of it, right? And I'm not taking no credit away from Allen because the big galoot was galooting, dog. He was getting it done. I mean, he ain't throwing to nobody either.
Right.
Like, just to be clear, that was an amazing game. I didn't feel like that's a game where I come out of it really blaming people, although I guess I didn't think the Jaguars had any need to throw the ball at all in that game.
I mean, they were averaging at one point like 8 yards a run in the first half, and Liam Cohen, these offensive coaches sometimes just can't help themselves.
Just can't do it, right? Like, if there's a blame, it's that. But that was a game I came away from it just being like, hey, hats off to all parties involved in the course of it. But I mean, this Josh Allen thing is interesting in that we have extended him a measure of patience for being in year 8, right? Maybe this is because we do treat Mahomes like Jordan. And so, like, we knock Charles Barkley for not winning a championship. We knock Patrick Ewing for not winning a championship, but we don't really look at them like they were deficient because of the recognition of the time and era in which they played. Maybe that is the benefit of the doubt that we are affording Josh Allen. Because to be fair, we don't really knock Lamar Jackson for having not won a Super Bowl.
Right. We knock him for bad playoff performances, but not for not winning a Super Bowl.
Right. Some total of it, right? Yeah. So to be fair to Josh Allen and all of this, however, if the quarterback means what we say that the quarterback means, then this is the time for him to go ahead and do it. Because look, let me make sure, like, you go back through and you look at what the rest of this conference is going to be. It feels kind of like we're in an era in the NFL where, and I guess maybe it's been longer than this, and we just haven't given enough credit. I know I've talked about this in the past. You can win with a starting quarterback, not necessarily a franchise quarterback. I mean, Jalen Hurts just won a Super Bowl. I think that's the definition of the starting quarterback, but not the franchise quarterback. But truthfully, before him, the last quarterback that we had win a Super Bowl that truly fit that definition, I guess, is Nick Foles.
I mean, we'll never say this, but the last...
the old versions of Tom Brady.
No, I was going to say specifically the last Patriots version of Tom Brady. Because the Bucs, he was playing a little... He got a little bit going towards the end of that season and was really good.
Bad in the playoffs.
Yeah, and got really good the last 2 years, so that season's weird. But, I mean, the Patriots Brady where they won against the Rams 13-3 was kind of the last, like, kind of just a guy. Like, but I think Foles is a good answer.
Yeah, but in that though, but he's still Tom Brady, right?
Correct.
Like, I guess fundamentally.
He still got this, yeah.
Right. I mean, that year that Peyton Manning was so awful in 2015, where they had to park him to just hope he could come back in the playoffs and give them something.
Yeah.
Even with him being bad and he was throwing them frisbees, right? They were still some comeback wins early in that season on the strength of he's still Peyton Manning, right? Like, there was still a magic that he could dial up. But the AFC, there's a high probability of a dude or a young guy, like, pulling this off in this. Josh Allen to be who is, I was going to say it feels unfair to be like, to be what we say Josh Allen is. What we're asking Josh Allen to do is things that we've seen Josh Allen do before, but are unfair to perhaps ask somebody to do all the time.
Right. I mean, this is like, to your point, this is kind of might be 94, 95.
It could be.
This might be the gap without Mahomes you got to get your title now, or who knows with the way these teams are constructed.
Right. So how about this? And I think this is the best way to think about it in that context. Forget about blame, forget about fault, forget about culpability, forget about where you're supposed to be in a given point in time. Just straight ahead. If you gonna do it, I would recommend you do it when the number one seed in your conference is quarterbacked by Bo Nix. Right? Like, I would recommend that now be the time that you go ahead and do it. Because the one thing that Josh Allen does have in common with Lamar Jackson is, in the end, you could make a lot of arguments about Lamar in some of these games, and you could say that he was not the reason that Baltimore lost. But the indisputable fact was that he was not the reason why they won. And as of now, Josh Allen has not been the reason that the Buffalo Bills have won the AFC. He is certainly not the reason they lost the 13-second game or however long it was. But he was not the reason that they won that game either, right? Now's the time. Can you get this done? Can you make this happen? I don't think that there's truly any more compelling storyline left in this. This is it. Can the big galoot it all the way and get them to the Super Bowl? If he looks like he did at those points in Jacksonville, Ryan, he's so much fun.
Right. I mean, like, whether or not it's the best, but when he is running around, putting the cape on, it's about as fun as it gets.
So here's the thing to me. Number one eye test quarterback of all time is John Elway.
Right.
And I've had people try to make the point to me, and they come back around on it. They're like, well, Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, nah, but Aaron Rodgers ain't look like that. They're like, well, Aaron Rodgers, he's only 1 inch shorter in the same weight. I hear what you're saying.
Aaron Rodgers didn't get drafted by the Yankees.
So I'm saying, and how about this? Aaron Rodgers got drafted number 25. If Aaron Rodgers looked like John Elway,
1-1.
Yeah. There's. It doesn't matter what, right? But Josh Allen really got drafted on looks the part. It was in spite of his actual performance, where he wasn't even all conference in the Mountain West. It was in spite of it. Josh Allen looked so much bigger than John Elway did while doing reasonably similar things
to
what
a big
John
difference
Elway
between
did.
6'3" and 6'5", nearly 6'6".
Yeah, he's not as fluid an athlete as Elway was, right? And it doesn't look as easy, or the ball doesn't quite explode out of his hand in the way that it did out of Elway. But when this dude is rolling, man, it's just like, what
do you do?
What in the world? And again, he's not.
He took a QB sneak for 10 yards.
I still get that. Ban it. It was absurd. But this is, if Josh Allen wins this, it'll be great for all parties involved. Because there's really, the only true reason to root against him is some measure of hating, right? Like that's all we've got in this. But I tell you, they almost lost it. And in that loss, their coach almost lost his job. Speaking of coaches and jobs that can be lost, it's hard for me to call this shocking news because it is not really news. It's a bit milquetoast as far as news goes, but still is a bit shocking. Adam Schefter is reporting, and again, this is no knock on him, right? This is just where the game goes. But Ryan, he is reporting that the Packers and Matt LaFleur are expected to work on a contract extension. And that's news about something that hasn't happened.
Right.
You see what I mean?
That's news about the reporting of a potential transaction that is not transacted.
Right. It's not even just news about something that hasn't happened. It's news that something might happen, but we're not 100% sure.
Right.
Which is not exactly news. Again.
Correct. But it is interesting.
Yeah, not a knock on Schefter, right? But it's interesting because it raises some interesting questions about, like, what in the world are the Packers doing? Okay, so this is where I'm standing, right? We are now a good almost 48 hours removed from that game on Saturday night where the Packers fell apart in the second half against the Bears. And Caleb Williams, hey, man, do you notice this, by the way, about Caleb Williams? Well, I guess, okay, let me get to that later. I'm going to hold that. We're going to talk about some playoff stuff in a little bit. I'm going to hold that when we get there, okay?
I'm excited. I don't even know where you're going with this.
Yeah. But this is what I'm saying. We went into this game with LaFleur's job being a little shaky. Ryan, we mentioned this last show, and I noticed that apparently we got some pushback on the internet about the fact that LaFleur's job might be in danger, even though people have been talking about this.
Yes, it is. We don't make up these rumors. We're not.
Yeah. Like the reason I said that, I thought that we were operating with a common understanding of things, right?
Right.
But apparently we were not. Okay, then it went the way it went, and now everybody's talking about, hey, you got to fire this guy for this one, right? Or that's the internet chatter that goes, and I see this among reporters, not just among people I know actually exist, not just stuff on the internet, right? And so then it goes, and my question is, if you were the Packers and there was any doubt about whether or not you were going to keep LaFleur going into Saturday, after Saturday, you fire him. Like, that loss was a fireable offense.
They were up 13 points with less than 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Right. Like, you don't get fired for every fireable offense. But if you were trying to decide if you were going to fire him, there's nothing else for us to do here. You don't even have to let him go talk to the team.
Yeah.
right? Or like when he goes in and talks to the team, he gets in there and is like, and I will take with me the memories. Because it's over, dog. It's over. This is it. Now we come back Monday morning and they're saying, oh, well, we expect that they'll work on it. Oh, no, not even work out. Work on. How hard is this? None of this.
What have you been? He has 1 year left on his contract. What have you been doing all year?
Yeah, right. You and his agent ain't never thrown no numbers out there. Nobody's had any conversation about this. This is what you expect me to believe. No, the only thing that I could glean from this is that the Packers are in a situation where they know they probably want to move on to another coach. Now, I tend to think he's a better coach than they do, but I see what the problem is. Right. I see what the issue is if you decide to go ahead and make that move.
There are obvious glaring issues,
yeah.
But this is also the same person who made Malik Willis look like a real NFL quarterback.
This is what I'm saying. This is kind of like what happened with James Franklin at Penn State. Like, I don't think you're going to get a better coach, but I see why you did it.
Right.
Now maybe they did in Penn State, but you get my point, right? I get why you might have made this move. I can only assume that what the Packers are doing is recognizing that LaFleur, if they fire him, will work somewhere next year. This isn't some dude where it's like, maybe I'll take a year off and go do some television. How old is he? 38? I'm actually not sure. Like, it's just hard for me to tell. Once a white boy get a fade, you know what I'm saying, and got like a trying to be cool dude mustache, he could be anywhere in the age continuum.
46.
He's 46?
Yeah.
He's older than me. Hold on. Here's what makes that crazy.
You know what? You know why I remember he's older? Do you remember the stories about how he was Brian Kelly's graduate assistant?
Oh, that's right. That's
for
right.
Central Michigan. He got invited to the party.
He and Sala, were they the ones where they were valeting cars?
Yeah, they got invited to the party. They thought they were invited to the party, but they were the valet cars.
They were Prince Akeem and Simi. But just for some context, Sean McVay still isn't 40?
Yeah, he turns 40 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, he turns 40 in 2 weeks. He's 7 years older or younger than Matt LaFleur. But anyway, they must be planning to trade him. Or leaving themselves.
Or at least opening the market to trade him.
Yeah, put themselves into a position where if somebody wants LaFleur, then they can get some picks out of the situation, right? Baltimore is a team that we look at. The Falcons got to be like, damn, because if you want a pick, you probably want a first-round pick, and we ain't got one of those right now. Otherwise, this doesn't add up, right? Now, the biggest loser in this scenario that the Packers have pointed out, or maybe just a winner, and it goes a little farther down the line, is John Harbaugh. When John Harbaugh got fired, Adam Schefter told the world that 9 teams had reached out to Team Harbaugh. At the time, there were only 6 job openings.
Right? I think it's a pretty easy math on who those 3 teams are.
Yeah, who you got? The Giants?
Not teams without openings.
Oh, yeah, without. Okay, so the Packers at the time.
The Packers?
The Dolphins at the time.
I was going Packers, Eagles, Bills.
Oh, yeah, but remember the Dolphins had a coach at the time.
That's true. The Dolphins did have a coach at the time.
Yeah. So, but all of these are on the board. The Eagles, that's the tricky one, right?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
We already got into that. Don't need to do that again. But Harbaugh has all this leverage. Like, apparently he's got a list of demands that is starting to float around. And who has any idea if those demands are true? That could be just as easily leaked out by a team that is trying to poison the well and make people not want him. But in the end, he is accomplished. His teams have been consistently good. He is basically thought of as a guy that people can get along with and an ego that will allow him to put people in places and let them do their jobs. Like, I see all the reasons why people would be interested in hiring him. But did you see what just happened with the last team that he coached? With one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the NFL? And no matter what you might say about Lamar Jackson and what the word on the street might be and so forth and so on, he's Lamar Jackson. And he's the guy that saved Harbaugh's job in the first place. However many years ago it's been now, right? 7 going on 8, okay? He's the guy who did that. Harbaugh's also 64 years old. Are you guys sure about this? Like, is this terribly different than hiring Pete Carroll if you had done that a couple of years ago? And I want to be clear about something. Pete Carroll is a lot older than John Harbaugh, right? But at this point, right? There's about a 10-year age gap between them.
Won a Super Bowl about a decade ago.
Yeah.
Feuded with his, at the time, star quarterback.
Yeah.
Struggled to hire and promote coordinators.
Yep. Kind of gradual decline.
And and then had, epic playoff failures and high leverage moments.
Yep. And by the way, when I mean gradual decline, it's not even in the record, right? But it's in things around the edges of the program, right? That's what all the reports that you get now about Harbaugh in Baltimore is. It just kind of frayed around the edges. He didn't lose the team, right? Like, it wasn't all over. Now, it is possible that, and I've seen this example be made about Harbaugh, that maybe it's like Andy Reid, and you just need to leave this one place and then go somewhere else and restart. Couple of things. One, I have a much clearer idea of what the Andy Reid football philosophy is and, what he's bringing. I'm not saying Harbaugh doesn't have these things. I'm saying I don't have as clear an idea about it. Number two, John Harbaugh is 64 today. Andy Reid is 67 today. Andy Reid made that job change 13 years ago. He was 54. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're not talking about the same thing under those circumstances. But he's such a great fit for the Giants. You know what I mean? Like, he's exactly the kind of guy the Giants want.
If you are an organizational dumpster fire and you're like, we have to get an adult in here.
Yes.
I understand the logic behind it. But, like, if you have let's say you need a 2-year rebuild to find your quarterback and turn over your roster.
Not the guy.
Yeah. And even if he was, he'd be 66.
Right. But hold on. Let's think about this. Because what John Harbaugh never had to do was rebuild.
Right.
Right? He has never had to start it from the bottom. When they fired Brian Billick, that team wasn't great, but it still had, I want to say, 4 Hall of Famers, right?
And a top 3 GM in Ozzie Newsome.
Right.
Hall
So you had Ozzie Newsome, you had Ray Lewis, you had Ed Reed, you had Terrell Suggs. They had to pick to go get the quarterback.
No,
Ogden retired at the end of 07.
Gotcha. So.
But point has been made, right?
Yeah, correct.
Everybody sees what we're talking about. Now, if we look at the job openings that are there, the Jets, not an opening. That's wild.
Yes.
The Giants, kind of sort of a rebuild, but I guess it depends on how far along you feel like their quarterback is and how long he's got to go before he gets his egg cracked. The Browns, no. I don't think that's a win for either side of this if it comes to it. Well, the Packers, maybe. The Packers are the team where Harbaugh would have had all the leverage, right? The word on the street was something him wanting like $20 million a year. This is not Sean Payton, right? Like, this is not a guy that I look at like, yeah, that's the one that
And to be clear, Sean Payton, clear foibles, but someone with a clear football philosophy.
Yeah. Like, when you bring him in, everything is different in a way that is not quite the same. Like, Harbaugh's not that kind of personality.
And he still has Bill Parcells putting him over.
Yes. By the way, John is not his brother.
Right.
Like, you tell me that we're coming in with his brother and we're going to turn this thing over. And by the way, he didn't have to rebuild with the 49ers.
No.
He didn't have to rebuild with the Chargers. He went places with at least a quarterback. All right, I can do something with this. If you take John Harbaugh to Atlanta, that becomes interesting because they don't need a rebuild, but they also don't really have a quarterback.
Right.
And the one that they might got one leg.
Yeah.
He's not going to Tennessee.
Right.
Right. Like, that's not going to be a place that he winds
that reeks
up.
Of Clint Kubiak,
right.
Just like the next person in the McVay Shanahan trade, just getting another job.
Now I bet you could get Mark Davis to give you a gazillion dollars, but all money ain't good money, baby. You know what I mean? The Cardinals are very confusing because I don't know. They have a quarterback, but they don't want him. But
right,
I don't know.
And also sneaky dysfunctional franchise.
Yeah, and I don't know where they're supposed to get this other like, they're doing a lot of things that your boy don't understand, is all I'm saying. I don't know where this place is that's a John Harbaugh away. from making this go. And how many double-digit leads have they blown? Like, what have these playoff scenarios been under Lamar Jackson? He's been right there with them.
You know where the best scenario for hypothetical John Harbaugh is? The Ravens.
or the Steelers.
Yeah.
Like,
I do like the idea of them just trading coaches.
There's so many interesting ideas there, right? Because each is the kind of coach that the other franchise is into.
Right.
They fit each other's this stability, right? There gonna be some ups and downs, perhaps, but it's gonna be a pretty steady ship as it goes across the board. And by the way, all of this is why the Steelers are not moving off for no Mike Tomlin. Right? Like, that's unless they go hire John Harbaugh. I don't know, but hey, we're saying this before the Steelers play this game against the Houston Texans. So we don't know exactly what any of this could be. But Harbaugh has all the leverage, and I just want to know who are the people that are sitting in there and being like, wait a minute. Because look, the whole league did that with Bill Belichick. And I think as of now, those decisions have been vindicated. Now, the difference is Belichick has a clear football philosophy, and that may have been the problem, right? Particularly a philosophy on talent evaluation.
His philosophy is, I know what I'm doing.
Yep.
Which is,
trust me,
which worked really well for, about 18 years.
Yes.
Until it didn't.
Okay, so let's think about this with Philadelphia. Former Eagles assistant John Harbaugh, okay? Let's just say the Eagles, look, man, they're going to have to fire. The day is going to come where they got to fire Sirianni after going like 12-5, 11-6, right? I think we talked about that before. Like, that's going to happen at some point. Could Harbaugh would not be a terrible fit there. But is Harbaugh trying to work in a situation where Howie got all the power and is running the roster? Because it sounds like Harbaugh wants to go somewhere where he's got all that power.
Which is also another interesting, decision to give to a 64-year-old.
Yeah, man. Like, this is, it's an awkward time. It's the greatest time in the world for him to get fired. But it's not a great time for him to get hired. Like, we're going to learn a lot about what all these front offices truly prioritize in this moment. And I would say, for example, if you're John Harbaugh and the Giants want to hire you, that is an indictment of you. Like, nothing about the Giants hiring of late says, oh boy, they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, Al Davis used to mess up a lot in hiring, but he used to try to hire a lot of guys that turned out to be good. You know what I mean? Like, if Al Davis wanted to hire you, you were 32, it might have meant something. People just didn't want to go work for him. The ones who could. But if the people who brought you Ben McAdoo, Pat Shermer, Brian Daboll, Joe Judge, that was his name. If they're like, yo, we see something in you. Whoa, what that's supposed to mean, partner? What you think about me right now?
I'm just going to point out for the record that you insulted John Harbaugh in the same way you backhanded complimented Lane Kiffin.
I did. It's actually the shining thing on the Lane Kiffin resume is that Al Davis thought he might got something. Like, that really is the thing, right? And then, by the way, 1 year later, get this man out of my sight. I hate Lane Kiffin so much. Every Friday from 6 to 7:30, it's NBA Happy Hour on FanDuel, your pregame for the weekend. We're talking limited time specials you won't want to miss. Boosts, bonuses, surprises, all dropping in the app during Happy Hour. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app to see the week's special. Then make your move before the shot clock expires at 7:30 Eastern. It's the perfect way to start your weekend. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Only on FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
21 plus and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kansas, Wyoming. Opt-in requirement. Awards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsduel.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
We all have goals for 2026, but who can help us achieve them? It's hard to find people who are so good at what they do. It's like if you're hiring, how can you find the best people for all the different roles on your team? Easy. ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/Bomani. ZipRecruiter's matching technology works fast to find top talent, so you won't waste time or money. You can find out right away how many job seekers in your area are qualified for your role. In ZipRecruiter's advanced resume database, you can instantly unlock top candidates' contact info. Let ZipRecruiter help you find the best people for all of your roles. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Just go to this exclusive web address right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
All right, Bo, 3 games we haven't really hit. Rams big win over the Panthers. The Bears comeback win over the Packers, and then the Patriots beating down the Chargers last night. Who is the biggest winner and loser from these 3 games?
Okay, now out of these 3 games, I think, well, the biggest loser, I think, again, is Matt LaFleur, who we just got through talking about.
Justin Herbert's close.
Yeah, I was about to say the runner-up, I think, is Justin Herbert, where I want to be fair to him, though, right? Their tackles have been out all year. He's got a hand so busted up, can't take snaps from under center. I like
that's going to be the take war today.
Yes, it is. First things first this is the ready-made topic for first things first. This Justin Herbert situation. I think Herbert again wound up in a situation where we said with Josh Allen before. I do not think he is the reason that they lost that game, but it is very clear that he is not the reason why they won that game, right? So, like, he's a runner-up there in the loser category. Honestly, the winner, it's like it's either Caleb Williams or it's Drake May. And I mean that in the sense that obviously a win legitimizes both of them. And for May, even though May has been better this year, Caleb Williams felt like he was on the clock this year.
Right.
You know, like the way.
Do you remember that article that came out at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, the Tyler Dunn piece. Right. And by the way, it looks to me, and I could be wrong, I don't know these people, okay? I don't think those people like him, but it is reaching the point where it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Right? Like he had a jump on my back performance in that game. And he is so good when it gets to jump on my back point. Right? Like what Johnson has gotten out of him is we're not taking the sacks. That by itself is a giant improvement for him, where he took something like 40 fewer sacks this season than he did last season. And man, he's got an arm. Right? When this is just get back there, move around a little bit, see what might happen. He was making throws that I could not believe. My goodness, I couldn't believe the stuff that he was doing. And so now he's skipped over the question we'll have, well, maybe when will he win a playoff game question? That one is already answered. You know what I mean? They get a home playoff game again, right?
Right. They play the Rams.
Yeah. Like, you know, in that one, hey, the Rams just struggled against an 8-9 team. By the way, shout out to the lil homie.
Yeah.
He did the best he could, and it was pretty good. Like, way to go, Bryce Young. Just don't take no more pictures with Mina. That messed everything up for you.
Man, that was a bit of a tough beat. All right, well, let's transition to a bit more of a serious topic. Trump administration says they will send hundreds more federal agents to Minneapolis over the week, following the weekend, to support ICE agents after, of course, the shooting of a woman there. But what's your reaction to what's going on in Minnesota?
All right, man. So this is my thing about ICE and there. And, you know, I think most of the top line things have been said by people already. I think observing what happened, it is fairly obvious what it was. I'm a bit out of the business of saying obvious things at this point, right? Like that's not the direction that I want to go in. And generally speaking, I'm out of the business of watching people get shot. Okay, so I have not like deep in the like I don't know the way to put it, but when we used to talk about the police killing people all the time before we got bored with it, I used to get in there and like watch these videos and get in and investigating. It was like I was trying to prove a point, like argue the truth of the matter to people to win the argument until realizing that the particulars didn't matter. The particulars weren't the point, right? And there were all these little details that you could come up with, and you were trying to explain if it was justified or not. The laws were engineered in such a way to where this question never really came up. And the real issue was just about whether or not people possess the requisite level of empathy for Black people under these circumstances, right? And I felt like that was the fight that was being had at that time, was a fight about humanity. And there was always a little subtle undercurrent of the discussion, which basically implied that white people didn't care that much if white people got shot by the cops either, right? Like the argument would wind up being from some people, and I'd seen this often where Black folks would bring up these numbers about Black people getting killed by the cops or what happens when Black people get caught by the cops. And the response to it was, well, this doesn't just happen to Black people, which is a really interesting answer for people to have, right? But it was the truth. All these laws and the way they go apply to if you smoke a white person too. And they were on occasion smoking white people and getting away with it. Like, these same things were going on, which got to like a larger police state sort of issue that, again, I don't think we ever resolved. We just kind of moved on and talked about something else. Well, now we're dealing with a different macro issue on top of it. And that issue is ICE. Okay. La migra, as nuestros hermanos call it, right? The immigration police that we have, which is a force that's been around for a while, but a force that gets beefed up because they need more people to do the job. Ryan, I don't know how much subway riding you're doing, but I've seen the advertisements on there, right? Like they out here. I'm just saying that they looking for ICE agents, not in the places where you get your best and brightest.
I mean, there's articles and facts, figures about the people they're finding.
They're terrible.
They're to put it succinctly and bluntly, they're overweight and they can't read.
Right, and this is not
which is at minimum not great qualifications for cops.
Yeah. These are not. This is not a generalization that he's making here. Like, have you ever seen Cocaine Cowboys?
Yes.
So it's a documentary about just kind of the building of modern Miami, basically. But they made a point that as Miami got bigger and bigger and the drug game got bigger and bigger, they needed more and more police, but they were unable to find police that met the minimum standards that they had for the police force. Like, for example, it started with you couldn't be a cop if you would ever use drugs. Okay, well, that standard was too high. And then it got to be, well, you haven't used drugs in the last 2 years. And that standard was too high. And it got to be, can you pass a drug test? And that standard was too high. And it basically got to, are you high right now? Because this is what happens when you need to build up the staff of an organization very quickly. You cannot really have standards. Now, this gentleman that shot this woman in Minnesota, I don't know how long he's been there. I mean, for all I know, he is a decorated police officer somewhere else and then wound up here. If I had to guess, that's probably not the case, right? So what we have is a force that has a lot of not actual law enforcement officers, right? Or at
substitute teachers at best.
Yes, newbies, like volunteers, whatever it is, right? But these are not, this ain't our best that's out here, okay? So you're taking these people, and again, I'll let you make your own conclusions about what happened with the shooting itself. What I will point out, though, is that the dude the whole way was filming it himself with his own cell phone, okay? And when it came time to shoot the woman, passes the cell phone from one hand to the other hand so he can use his trigger hand to shoot into the woman's car and then calls her a bitch after it's said and done, okay? The reason that this cat is filming this isn't a body cam. that I'm talking about, right?
Or the dash cam on the car or something like that.
Yeah. Or something that
he opted into filming this video.
Yeah, something that exists to document, right? Something that exists in case something like this happens. No, man, they out here making content. You see how crazy? You realize how crazy that is? Like, this is like if there's any reflection of the madness of the world that we live in right now, is that somebody's out here making content and did not think to himself, hey, I maybe shouldn't shoot somebody right now because I'm taking a video of it. Not just somebody might be taking a video of it. You never know if somebody's looking. I'm taking a video of it and still shot this woman. What? What exactly is it that we're doing? And so you can send more agents up there because it is getting kind of cracking, right? Like this is, I mean, there have been.
That's what happens, obviously, when a situation gets escalated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a situation of their own making, but yes, it is an escalating situation.
Okay, but think about this too. This is the third high-profile shooting that I can think of that has happened in Minnesota in the last, I guess we'll call it 10 years or so.
Right.
Okay, or not shooting, police violence situation. I don't know, the word.
Yes.
Officer involved. Is that how they put it?
Yes.
One of them obviously is George Floyd. Right. This one is this one. But the first one, I don't know if people realize this. The police don't never get in trouble for shooting people. Okay. I believe at the time that there's been one incident in the state of Minnesota where a police officer had, I don't remember if it was brought under indictment, conviction, whatever it is, for shooting a civilian. And it was this one. And it was when it was a Somali police officer. Okay. And a woman walked around to his side of the car and he turned and shot her. Okay. And they got him for that one. Now, I've been paying attention to people getting shot by the police all the time, along with living a life where I'm trying not to get shot by the police. That sort of situation, I guarantee you, if it's me, ain't nobody getting indicted. Okay. You walked up over that man's shoulder. He feared for his life, right? Turned and shot. This situation to me, Ryan, is like, it was a white woman, important to note. So this situation is like the in-between of the two, right? It looks fairly indefensible, but also has a combination of that. Maybe you shouldn't have do that thing that people easily jump on. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying that's the thing that people easily jump on, but it's also a white woman who wound up getting shot. So like somebody who doesn't necessarily fit the profile of who gets shot by the police when people start shrugging their shoulders, right? That whole jumbled mess of things. I doubt that there's going to be any punishment that's laid down, especially because the FBI say that they want to look into it. And that seems potentially self-serving, I think is the fairest way to put what that might be. But bottom line is, we are at a place in our society, in this society, where somebody will shoot you while making a video of it and not think twice about putting down the fucking phone.
All right, Bo, get to voicemails. Time to read back a show favorite.
What's up? What's up? Happy New Year to everyone. This is DJ Mike Hitman. I got the things I got to tell y'all. 25 is over. 2026 is here. It's a new year. I got some things I want to say. I want the men to be men. The three things I need y'all to do first. Get out your mama house. You got to get out your mama house. Get out the basement. Pay your own bill. You should have your own car, and you should have your own apartment. Because if you don't have your own apartment, woman can't put you out. You could go to your own place. That's the problem, man. You're living with these women, they put you out. It's time for you to be man. Man, you got to get out them damn jerseys. You ain't Roger Staubach, you ain't Drew Pearson, and you ain't Tom Landry walking around with them damn jerseys. Get out them damn jerseys. You don't play football. Be a man. Get a shirt and a tie. Get a job. Okay? I need all you men to go get, if you don't know how to fix nothing, not a damn thing, go get a hammer, a screwdriver, a plier. Keep it around the house. Make it seem like you know how to do something. Because if you don't, I'm going to be the maintenance man coming over there. Hello, what you need fixed? Okay? Get the tools in the house, guys. It's 2026. Play like you know how to fix something. This is what you got to have, guys. Have your own car. Have your own place. Have your own money. You know why? Because if you got your own car, you could drive places. Nobody got to take you. You got your own house or your apartment, you don't have to be worried to get put out. Because you at our house, she said, get out, you got somewhere to go and sleep. If you got your own money, you don't have to go to White Castle. You can go to Red Lobster. You can go to Bennigan. You can go to Michael Jordan because you're making your own money. Quit depending on these women. Women's is good when you walk with them, talk with them, hold them. That's what all they good. Other days than that, you don't need a woman for everything. I need a woman because she cook greens.
Gang. True gang.
That is the abridged version.
Yes, that is true game. Mike here with me right now asking what time it's gonna run. That's what that text was about, right?
Okay, I was very confused. All right, let's go to our next one.
Hey, Bo, it's E from the DMV. So I got an FCS football question. So Montana State just won national championship, and we know North Dakota State is a superpower at this level. But what is the glitch in the matrix out there that those schools have found to be so powerful every year? Because both the Montana schools seem to be good every year. South Dakota State's a championship level team as well. Like, what is happening out there on the frontier that they get all these Cooper DeJean dream teams and are beating everybody else up? I know those schools are the only shows in town in those states, but everybody has nice facilities now. How are they getting players or coaches and destroying everybody? Thanks, man. Talk to you later.
All right, so I think there are a couple things here. We are stretching the extent of my powers, but I'm going to go for this, right? Number one, as we talked about with Cooper DeJean, who's from South Dakota, can't nobody tell you can't play corner out there because it's only y'all playing corner. You see what I'm saying? Like you gotta rise up in a different sort of way because there's nobody to trample your self-esteem and tell you that you're not good enough, right? Like I've said this many times. All them super cold white boys, man, they tend to be places super cold and full of white boys, right? That's a big part of it. Number two, I'm gonna just throw this out here for you. If a brother wanted so bad that he gonna go to Montana to get it, he ain't going out there to fuck around. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you want it so bad that you're willing to go out there, you mean business with a D. So I imagine that you get some like cold beast on that front, right? Or, a lot of can't go back all-stars. Now you got to go all the way out there to Montana to make it happen. It's going to be that. And then there's number three. And this is the part that gets forgotten, okay? Montana football may not be a big deal to you, but Montana football is a big deal in Montana, right? There are people at Montana and Montana State who really, really care about the football. And some of them may not got all the bread, but they got some bread, right? They got a little money. The forces of competition are still going to be there. They got a level at which they can be good. And once they decide they're going to be good, they're going to invest in what level of being good they can wind up getting. It's catch cheating in JUCO, baby. You know what I'm saying?
People in this country love football everywhere. All sorts of football at every level. People love football.
Yeah, and if you set it up in such a way where the state is just big enough to have two teams, even if it's just two teams that play on the same level, okay, now the economics of it comes into play. Now they battling. You see what I'm saying? And now it goes, right? And then, there's the other part, man. So ornery white boys up them ways from what I've seen on the internet and in documentaries.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Yellowstone. They get real mad up there.
Y'all are not here for being tread upon. Is that how they put it?
I believe that is what that has been co-opted to make.
Yeah, buddy. And I tell you this too, you better not try to carjack none of them. Oh no, they ready.
All right, we got two more.
Hi, Bo. This is Doug calling from Tokyo. Long time first. I wanted to call about that Throwback Tuesday with the USC Texas game. I am an Oregon alum. I was in school for that 2005 season, and of course the Pac-10 had the perfect round robin series at that time, so we played USC. That was a huge game. Students had to line up for tickets, and it was a mile long for that when that was dropped on Tuesday or Wednesday that week. And then we got our doors blown off 45-13, and sitting from the student section seeing Reggie Bush in person was not there. 2005 for the younger viewers was also when YouTube came out, and one of the first things we went to see on YouTube was the Reggie Bush high school highlights. I think those are probably still up, and those are still a treat. But as an Oregon fan, seeing Reggie Bush play in person, and then the next year seeing Adrian Peterson, men versus boys in the college game at a university that's supposed to be injecting all this money is completely unfair. We did have a squad in 2005. We went 10-1, actually 10-2 with the offseason, and lost to both Reggie Bush and Adrian Peterson. I guess that's how it goes. Thanks. Love the show.
Yeah, boy. Like, that was the thing. He said it before I could. That Oregon team was actually pretty good.
I mean, those early, mid-2000s Oregon teams.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have won the national title in 2007.
Yeah, until Dennis Dixon got hurt.
Yeah.
But he also brought up something, and that was real. There was the Reggie White YouTube tape.
Reggie Bush.
And Reggie Bush, big difference. And although, can you imagine if there was a high school Reggie White tape?
No.
But there was also the Noel Devine tape,
yes,
which came out around a similar time, and that was comedy, like
yes.
literal comedy. It was like watching Odd Job off of whatchamacallit, James Bond. In a good way, though.
Yeah. All right, Bo, here's our last one.
Hey, Bomani. This is Will from Oklahoma City. I was just calling. So one of my favorite bits on the show is, say, people whose names may not match exactly what you're expecting. So, for example, like Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell would be one. But I want to make a submission. I found a new one the other night. So I'm pretty plugged in with the NBA, and I'd heard this name floating around during, I don't know, I guess whenever this dude got drafted or just here and there. But I'm watching the Thunder Jazz the other night, and this is the first time I'd ever seen Bryce Sensabaugh. And I'll just say that was not what I expected. So love the show. Keep up the good work. Also, shout out White Monty. I got an uncle that's White Monty. Bye.
Actually, I got to say, Bryce Sensabaugh is checking in exactly as I thought.
Really?
Because every Sensabaugh I've ever heard of is a professional athlete, and they are black. There was one that played in the NFL and went to Carolina named Gerald Sensabaugh. He is good friends with my buddy Michael Felder, and I'm just here to tell you, there's no question about where Gerald Sensabaugh falls in line. Also, I feel like we have taken Bryce.
You have taken, I mean, that might be a two Americas taken Bryce.
You got a good point. You know what? He's Bryce with an I and not a Y.
That's a good counter.
So I can see it, but yeah, the Sensabaugh, I can see being ours. By the way, I meant to bring up White Jerome Powell in my last segment. Yeah, he's in the news because word on the street is that Trump is trying to put this man under. He's the chairman of the Federal Reserve, and he's not even trying to put him under indictment for actually stealing money. It's for a renovation of a building, right?
Which is ironic, also given
That's a great point. Like anytime something like that happens, I'm like, does Trump remember that Jerome Powell is who he is, right? Or is he assuming it's another Jerome, and therefore he's just going with the standard playbook? Except Trump, he trying to throw white people in jail too. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the guy that's like, I'm not racist, I just hate people. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this 4 days a week. Ryan Brumley handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Remember, hit the voicemail line, 323-596-7767. And remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. We'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.